We often celebrate the massive contracts MLB players sign, visualizing millions dedicated to private jets and luxury living, believing that financial security solves every problem on the path to greatness. But here is the stunning, rarely discussed reality. Over 40% of Japanese players making the transition report that the single greatest stressor in their first 6 months isn't facing Shohei Ohtani or Aaron Judge, but the sheer, crushing existential anxiety of buying groceries, a seemingly mundane hurdle that threatens to derail their entire performance before the first pitch is even thrown.
Welcome to 618 Radar, your signal for the hidden truths of the global diamond, where we track the speed of the pitch and the spin rate of the ball. But today, we're tracking the currency, the real cost of chasing the American baseball dream. When Tatsuya Imai, an ace pitcher with immense potential, touched down in Los Angeles, he wasn't just preparing to face the league's best hitters. He was entering a psychological proving ground.
The moment captured on video, where he wanders the aisles of a Los Angeles supermarket, isn't footage of a celebrity browsing. It's a terrifying, high-stakes collision between expectation and reality. You can see the shift in his eyes. He is holding a piece of meat, a relatively modest cut, and the price tag, converted back to Japanese yen, is hovering around 1,000 yen per pound, an astonishing figure compared to the prices he is accustomed to. He murmurs, "This is too high. This is insane."
That single line is the sound of a dream encountering the concrete, unforgiving wall of global inflation and the weak yen. Now, many will rush to the immediate counterargument. Stop whining. He's an MLB player. He's going to make millions. What's a $50 difference on a steak? This viewpoint entirely misses the complexity of the challenge.
This is not about the gross total of his future contract. It's about the psychological tax of adaptation and the immediate, daily disruption of the foundation of an elite athlete's life. Think about it. A pitcher's body is a finely tuned machine, and that machine runs on a precise, familiar fuel, the Japanese diet.
The stress isn't just the price, it's the inability to easily source the specific, trusted cuts of meat, the preferred rice, the exact seasonings needed to maintain peak physical and mental condition. As Kenji Sato, a former NPB scout now working as a cross-cultural consultant, once put it, we measure spin rate and velocity down to the decimal point, but we forget to measure the internal stress index.
Tatsuya's 150 km/h fastball loses 5 km/h the moment he realizes he has to spend $80 just to replicate his pre-game meal, and even then, it won't taste right. This anxiety compounds rapidly. We are talking about highly disciplined individuals who rely on routine for sanity and performance.
When the simple, critical act of securing daily nutrition becomes an expensive, bewildering chore, navigating English labels, understanding weights, calculating currency conversions, that mental energy is stolen directly from the mound. Dr. Anya Sharma, a sports psychologist specializing in athlete migration, frames it as adaptation friction. She explains, when everything is unfamiliar, the language, the rules of the road, and the price of rice, the mind uses up valuable cognitive resources that should be dedicated to mastering the slider and preparing for the next start. We calculated that for a typical Japanese rookie, the cognitive load from non-baseball daily tasks increases by 35% compared to their home environment. That 35% is the difference between a lights-out performance and a costly walk. The conflict reaches its climax when we look at the dietary numbers. Consider the protein requirement for an MLB starting pitcher, often needing upwards of 200 grams daily. If Imai is accustomed to buying high-quality protein at a consistent price point in Japan, and he suddenly sees those costs jump 50% to 75% in a high-cost market like Los Angeles, the choice becomes brutal. Either maintain his necessary nutritional intake and watch his initial savings evaporate at an alarming rate, or compromise on quality or quantity, which directly jeopardizes his arm health and endurance. It is a genuine, high-stakes threat to his career stability. The footage of Imai, standing paralyzed in the produce aisle, highlights that the challenge of the MLB is not merely physical, it is a full-scale assault on one's entire domestic structure. He's not just pitching for a spot on the roster, he's fighting to establish a habitable, functional life 6,000 miles from home. The truly fascinating shift, the plot twist in this ongoing narrative, is how the teams themselves are finally recognizing this as a bottom-line business problem, moving beyond the simple adapt or fail mentality. For years, teams assumed the high salary covered these inconveniences. Now, faced with the analytical data proving that poor cultural integration reduces performance by measurable metrics, a 2022 internal study by one major AL team reportedly linked high adaptation friction to a 0.5-point increase in ERA for international rookies. The game is changing. The solution to Imai's despair isn't just a bigger paycheck, it's institutional support. Teams are now investing heavily in dedicated Japanese-speaking concierges, personal chefs specializing in Japanese cuisine, and even securing specific vendor contracts to ensure players get the ingredients they need at a stable, non-inflated price point. This shift signifies that the ultimate barrier to success for many international players is being mitigated, not by luck, but by strategic, data-driven empathy. Imai's moment of despair in the supermarket aisle is, ironically, the moment the reality of the international market came into sharp focus, forcing organizations to treat lifestyle adaptation as essential to competitive advantage as biomechanics and pitch sequencing. His struggle is the genesis of a fundamental, overdue change in how MLB supports its global talent. The mental burden Imai faced highlights that the jump to the major leagues demands more than just skill. It demands total, unwavering resilience in the face of domestic chaos. Whether he pitches for the Angels or pursues another opportunity, his ability to manage the mundane details of life in a foreign country is now inextricably linked to his performance on the mound. It's a life challenge disguised as a price tag. If you found this deep dive into the hidden pressures facing MLB's Japanese talent compelling, make sure to hit that like button. Share this video with fellow baseball fanatics and subscribe to 618 Radar for more expert analysis you won't find anywhere else. What aspect of the international player transition, the language barrier, the travel, or the cultural isolation, do you think is the biggest non-baseball factor determining success in the MLB? Let us know in the comments below.